Hi everyone, it's Melissa from jewelrytutorial.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a brick stitch around a bead. I first showed you this technique in my last video from the February Bargain Bead Box Part 2 finished series. I will link that video up above. Today I'm going to be showing you with a different bead. We just got these in the March Bargain Bead Box set. These are going to be number 6, the 13.5 crystal disco faceted round beads in blue green. I love how they look. They just have a really nice shine to it. The hole is pretty large, so it's perfect for creating the brick stitch around the bead like I'm going to show you. If you don't have this subscription, don't worry. Just make sure that you use a bead that is large enough with a large enough hole so you can do this technique. I'll show you the technique once I talk about what supplies you need. So obviously you'll need the beads that we talked about. You'll also need delica size 11 beads, Miyuki. The specific style that I used was DB 904 called Minty. It's almost like a seafoam green. And then we have the DB 249 Fleur de Lis. Not sure if that's the real name or just the name that the company I got this from called it, but it's just this like bright purple. So those are the two colors I'm going to be using today. You're also going to be needing a size 11 beading needle. I like John James. You're also going to need Fireline cord. I'm going to be using black satin today in an 8-pound. You can use a 6-pound if you would prefer. And then you'll also need a pair of scissors and a lighter and a beading mat. And then I also like to use this triangle. It allows you to pick up beads and organize them on your mat easily. All right, so you're going to cut a piece of Fireline cord, approximately an arm's length worth of cord. And you're going to take I use a chain nose plier and I just clamp down on the end. That way it flattens out the cord and you can get it into your needle nice and easily. So you're going to pull down that piece that you just put into the needle. You don't want your two ends to touch. I would leave probably like 3 or 4 inches difference between the ends. Next, you are going to take your bead and you're going to insert the needle, pull that cord until I would say you have at least like 2 inches hanging out the bottom. And then you're going to go back from the bottom to the top. Okay, see how it created the loop on that one side? Now we need to create a loop on the other side. So now we're going to flip our bead and we're going to go from the top to the bottom. And now we've created a loop on that side. I always like to create 2 loops on each side. So we're going to go again down from the bottom or the top to the bottom and tighten those 2 together on the side. Now let's flip over the bead one more time. And now we're going to go from the bottom to the top, creating that one more loop on this side. So in total, you have 2 loops on this side and 2 loops on the other side wrapped around the sides. And you just want to kind of pull the 2 ends to tighten it. You're going to keep the tension on the bottom cord while you're creating that brick stitch. So we're gonna work with the purple first. So we're going to grab 2 of the size 11 purple beads, and at the very top here we're going to go underneath make sure the beads are just right at the top, and then we're going to go through that second bead from the bottom to the top, like so. And see how this bead, the second one that you went through, is laying correctly. And this first one is a little bit wonky. So we're going to fix that at the very end. So pick up a bead, go through the 2 pieces of cord, pull to tighten, let that bead sit right next to the second bead, and go from the bottom to the top through the 3rd bead. You keep going through this entire process. So you pick up a bead, go through the bottom to the top, and then pull to tighten. So follow this and I will meet you at the very end. Okay, I'm near the end, so I'm just going to complete the circle here. So I really can't add another bead because it would squish all of this together. So I'm just going to now make this bead not sit so crooked. I'm going to fix it. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert your needle through that kind of funky bead from the top to the bottom, and you're going to exit out of the bottom of the hole here of the bead. And see how that fixes that bead where it's laying flat now. So you want to exit out of the following bead. So see how it's exiting out of the actual bottom of this larger bead. I want it to be exiting out of either one of these beads. So I just need to insert my needle from the bottom to the top. It's just a little bit tricky because there's not much space. So you kind of have to just keep working at it until you can make it happen. Be gentle. You don't want to pop or break the bead, but it looks like I'm able to enter through that next bead. We're going to pick up 2 beads. And see where the cord is coming out of this bead right here. There's a little notch between those 2 beads. You're going to go through that notch starting from the back and pulling through to the front. And you're going to go through, like you did before, through that second bead from the bottom to the top and pull to tighten. So in the beginning, you always pick up 2 beads for that very first set, and then after that, you pick up 1 bead at a time. So we're going to pick up 1 bead. We're going to go through, if you can see that other set of cord, from the back to the front, pull to tighten, and then enter that bead that you just strung onto from the bottom to the top and pull. So it's creating that brick stitch in the round is what you call it. And you continue this process. Okay, so we're at the very end. I actually do want to add one more bead before I start fixing this little wonky one that we always talk about. The reason I want to add one more bead is there is quite a bit of space here to do so. And then also, anytime that you are on your last row and you want to create, here's an example from the last project, you want to create this piqué edging, you have to have an even number of beads. And right now I have 27 beads, so I'm at an odd number, so I want to add one more bead, which will add me at 28. And because I don't have another cord to go through here, I'm going to go through that last bit of cord that I already did a bead on, which is okay to do. And then I'm going to go through the bottom to the top. And see how there's just a tiny little gap that needs to be closed. So you're going to go through that bead from the top to the bottom, and you're actually going to go through the next bead underneath it, and both of those are right in the whole area of this big bead, so you're actually going to go through the entire hole all the way down to the bottom and try to pick up one of the beads. There we go. See how we're picking up a bead at the bottom now? That's a lot of things to pick up through, but it'll make sense once you start doing the project. And see how it got that bead laying flat to where you can't even tell which one you were working with. And now our cord is exiting out of the bottom. This is still our cord from the very beginning that we left us some space to work with. So now we're ready to add the green little, I call them piqué. Pick up 3 of the green. You're exiting out of this top one, so you're gonna go insert your needle in the top bead right next to that one, like so. And see how the bead lays like a little piqué. And then you're gonna go up through the next bead. It's a little bit tricky because this larger bead is in the way. Just be delicate. You don't want to break any beads. So now your cord is coming out through the next bead next to your piqué, which is great. So now you're going to pick up 3 green and you're going to go down the next bead next to it, like so. And you're going to do this all the way around. Okay, so we're at the very end. I just need to add that last piqué. So I'm picking up 3 beads. I'm inserting my needle from the top to the bottom in the next bead, and then I'm pulling. So we're done, which is fantastic. The next step is just running your cord back and forth through a couple of these beads for this cord that you're working with, and then also this cord that you left at the end, and then you just burn the edges. All you're doing with those cords is just hiding them in and tightening up your piece. Okay, so here is your finished bead wrapped with brick stitch seed beads in Miyuki size 11. I hid all of the cord, burned the edges. So you can do many things with this. You can create a necklace like I did in the last video. You can also create earrings by simply attaching a ear wire to the top here. You can also create a bracelet by making more of these and then connecting them with jump rings if you want. I wanted to show you what I did using the March Bargain Bead Box charm. This was number 4 here, and what I did was I used a jump ring to attach this adorable little Celtic knot and then attached the ear wire to it. So quickly I'll just show you how I did that. So taking your chain nose pliers and your needle nose pliers, you just pull apart the link here, and then you actually want it to be on the center one so your bead is hanging correctly. And then you attach the charm to the jump ring as well, and then close your jump ring. And you have these adorable earrings. Let me put them on the card so that you can see them a little bit better. Aren't those adorable? And you know, you just started with the bead and made them a little bit more eccentric by adding the other seed beads, and then you just made it even more valuable by creating this charm attachment. So there's just so many ways that you can get creative with this technique of doing a brick stitch around a bead. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, or turn on the notification so that I know that I'm making the right content for you. Thank you so much. Take care.